The independent commission investigating the facts of the mass shooting in Lewiston will be releasing their final report next week. The commission chair announced today that the Lewiston Commission will release its findings at a news conference, which will be held at the Lewiston City Hall at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. The panel was selected by Governor Mills and Attorney General Aaron Frey in early November to study the circumstances of the shootings on October 25th, in which 18 people were killed. The commission has heard from members of the Army, victims' families, the gunman's family, and law enforcement who were involved.